Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this is going to be my X-Men trailer breakdown from Comic-Con. Just like the Deadpool stuff, Fox is taking down all the leaks hardcore, so I'm going to have to get a little creative with the way I show footage. The really big takeaways are that we actually got to see what Oscar Isaac looks like in full-on Apocalypse makeup. Full-on final boss form Apocalypse. If you guys read X-Men Axis, that comic happened a little, I think it was last year, maybe the year before that. They have the Evan character who's like a childlike Apocalypse. He's actually a clone. Turn into full-blown Apocalypse. This is actually kind of what he looks like in the current comics. Everybody has their favorite version of the character. He looks a little bit different in the Ultimate comics, all across the 80s and the 90s. One of, if not the best comic book story that he had is Age of Apocalypse, the classic version. They've reimagined that paradigm a couple different times in the comics, so there's a newer Age of Apocalypse. Just read the classic one first. This is just the concept art, but it looks like pretty close to what this is. I think it's about as realistic as they could get without getting too crazy. The problem with Apocalypse in the comics, when you start dealing with film stuff, is that he is kind of a ridiculous character. He's meant to be like that Thanos level villain. And imagine what would have happened if Thanos had shown up, say in that first Iron Man film, before they'd done some of the crazier stuff. Comic book people would have loved it, but the rest of the world would have been like, what the hell is this? I feel like 50% of people will give him a thumbs down, 50% will give him a thumbs up. Oscar Isaac is great at playing really weird characters, so I think the performance will be great. There really isn't enough of him in this trailer to make a good judgment, so I'm withholding a longer analysis of Oscar Isaac's performance till we get a full-blown trailer. But the other big stars of this trailer are the new characters, like the recast younger X-Men and the new characters like Psylocke. Sophie Turner is the new Jean Grey. I don't feel like a lot of her Game of Thrones scenes do her justice, so I feel like this film will give you a better sense for her ability as an actor. There's new Nightcrawler, new Storm, I'm totally digging the Storm look, new Cyclops, and Moira McTaggart. At the Comic-Con panel, Channing Tatum and Ryan Reynolds joined them on stage, so we could see some Deadpool and Gambit in this movie, but they're not going to be big parts of it. I don't know about you guys, but I am really happy that Fox is at least embracing the idea of superhero movie crossovers. Everybody uses Marvel as the benchmark just because they got there first, but I feel like Fox has a real opportunity with all of its IP. Who else wants to see a Starjammers movie? I feel like that would be Fox's Guardians of the Galaxy. So the trailer opens up on a shot of Cerebro, and then we get this Jean Grey scene with Sophie Turner. She shoots up in bed and says that she saw the end of the world. She has this nightmare about everything going to shit. Then we're flying over an old city with an Apocalypse voiceover saying, I've been called many things over many lifetimes. Ra, Krishna, Yahweh. Moira McTaggart says ever since the world found out about mutants, there have been secret societies, cults, who see them as some kind of second coming or a sign of God. Then Apocalypse walks into a room with a hood on saying, I was there to spark and fan the flame of man's awakening, to spin the wheel of civilization. So he's just explaining how he's functionally immortal, and he's been around for almost everything that the human race has seen. Then it jumps back to Moira, and she says, I was tracking one of them. They believe that tens of thousands of years ago, an ancient being was born, the world's first, and then, cuts to James McAvoy saying, mutant. So it's pretty clear that a lot of this film, especially the early part of the film, is going to be dedicated to Apocalypse's origin story, which I actually think is pretty cool. Then it cuts to a shot of Jennifer Lawrence and Beast looking really worried. Then it cuts to another shot of Apocalypse, the camera slowly moving up his breastplate. It lands right on the A, and then he says, You are all my children, and you're lost, because you follow the wrong leader. Everything they built will fall, and from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one. So they're teasing Age of Apocalypse. That's basically what the movie is, the lead up to what that was in the comics. Although Age of Apocalypse in the comics was like an alternate far future timeline, and this is taking place in the 80s. Then it cuts to shots of Magneto, Nightcrawler, and Storm standing next to Apocalypse, with her full-on 80s mohawk. Then it cuts to another shot of Magneto turning to someone off-camera reacting to someone saying, Who the F are you? And then boom, full-on Apocalypse shot with his armor on. My best approximation is that this version of Apocalypse looks closest to the 80s designs, the original Apocalypse. Then we just cut to a bunch of different shots of some of the other X-Men, some of the supporting characters like Cyclops, Psylocke, and Quicksilver. Then Jennifer Lawrence says, mutants are being hunted, living in fear. Xavier puts his Cerebro hat on, and he says, I've never felt power like this before. The double meaning being the power that Cerebro gives him and the power that he feels coming off of Apocalypse. So just to be clear, Channing Tatum and Ryan Reynolds did not appear in the trailer, and if they do appear in the movie at all, it's probably going to be like very, very small cameos, but they were on stage with them at Comic-Con. So everybody cross your fingers for them being in the movie. Either way, I think it's going to be really interesting. This movie, I feel, is more important to the X-Men film franchise than Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past was a fun movie, but this is bringing in a ton of recast new characters. If audiences really buy into all these new people that they're bringing in, then they're fine. They'll be great. Like imagine Marvel bringing in a bunch of new characters to the Avengers and people hating them. It would destroy all those future Avengers films. Even if you didn't get a chance to see the trailer, let me know. What do you think about this movie so far? Based on what you've heard or what you've seen. Like I said, Fox hasn't really said when they're going to post an official version of the trailer. Ryan Reynolds did say that Deadpool is coming in about 3 weeks, so hopefully Fox will also release X-Men footage around that time. Typically, like October, November is when really big trailers come. Like if you remember back to last year, November is when that first Star Wars Episode 7 trailer dropped. A lot of you guys have been asking for trailers for Star Wars and some of the other stuff at Comic-Con. I'm working my way down the list. I think I'm actually going to do Star Wars next, and then I'm going to do Arrow Season 4. After I get through all that stuff, I'm going to start doing character videos. So if there's any characters that they announced at Comic-Con that you guys really want me to do videos for first, just let me know in the comments. And be sure to subscribe to get everything. I'm going to start closing my giveaways from Comic-Con in the next couple days. If you're not sure about those, all you have to do is just like leave a comment on one of my Comic-Con videos. There's separate giveaways for Marvel, DC, Doctor Who, like all the different fandoms. So just leave a comment on one of those videos and you're good to go. While you guys wait for all that stuff to post, you can click here to watch my Deadpool trailer breakdown again, and you can click here to watch my Suicide Squad trailer breakdown. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.